Every battery has its pluses and minuses, even Duracell Optimum, which can upgrade your holiday gifts, giving some more power versus copper top. Like, on the plus side, your new Black & Decker electric screwdriver has more power for do-it-yourself projects. Minus, and don't do-it-yourself projects.
Oh no!
Plus, your daughter's new Monster Jam RC truck can now go faster. Minus, all the way across your house. This holiday season, upgrade with the power of Duracell Optimum. Versus copper top, Duracell Optimum can deliver extra power in some devices or extra life in others in a wide range of devices.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Transitional Changes Mission Podcast Show. This is your host, Queen Summers.
And your host, King Summers.
We are so glad that you were able to visit us this evening. And we're still talking about the holidays.
Yes, my people. It is Wednesday, December the 16th. We are now 8 days before Christmas Eve and 9 days away from Christmas. One thing about this Christmas is spectacular time of the year. It will be celebrated on a Friday.
Now, it's just so easy to be cheerful and merry during the Christmas season. It's a busy season. It's a beautiful season of giving and sharing. It's a season for renewal and reflection. And it's a season for goal planning and meditation. If you have constantly berated yourself or experienced self-loathing, we give you full permission to love yourself and recognize that you've learned from difficult times.
Christmas also is the holiday of the Christian belief. It is the birth of Christ. That is the celebration and the reason of Christmas.
That's right. To those struggling this season, whatever you're feeling is okay. Things will get better. Whether this is your first or 50th holiday season without certain loved ones, we are all in this together. I know it sounds so cheesy, but we can never express enough compassion. It only begets more compassion. And I've learned to apply this lesson to myself as well. Enough mental anguish comes with losing a loved one without us putting more undue stress on ourselves. It's important that we respect and appreciate the compassion of others, but ultimately we can always support and learn from ourselves. It's a much beautiful thing when you expand the mind.
And also, I say it's a beautiful thing for change. This season and within this whole year, since the plague has came, a lot of holidays has been on the flip side. It hasn't been the same as what we was used to in 2019, 2018. When the plague came upon us, a lot of people is still searching and have lost a lot of people within this plague. So with Transitional Changes Mission, we see that and we feel that within our surrounding area and seeing it globally of
That's
the
right.
great change that has been upon us.
And if we want to increase the likelihood that people can find a meaningful way to participate in holiday events and make good decisions rather than engage in risky behavior during the pandemic, we instead need to acknowledge how hard this has been and that everyone is struggling. We're right here with you. Everyone is struggling. When we try to cheer others up by having them look at the bright side before really listening to their feelings, we are inadvertently faulting them for how they feel. And if you want to write to us, you don't have anyone else to talk to, send your message to tcmissionspeaks@gmail.com. Rarely do such efforts change people's true emotions. Instead, they teach them to hide their feelings and retreat into themselves rather than have them dismissed. I know there's most people already feeling ashamed for being dubbed as Debbie Downers, so the best antidote is to listen without judgment. Admittedly, this isn't easy. People fear being overwhelmed by someone else's feelings. They also confuse listening with agreement. But if you rush in with suggestions or brush off the depth of the feelings being conveyed, inevitably it backfires. It's not so much that misery loves company as that misery deserves understanding.
And we can't have that. We got to have happiness energy to spread across the globe. And with that said, you can always go to speaker.com, type in Transitional Changes Mission. There you will see all our shows. All our shows are targeted to be family-friendly shows We talk about current events, and we try to do it in a joyful way.
By hearing one another and supporting one another, we can help build resilience. This is a key component of mental health for all people, wherever you are. Approaching the holidays with a willingness to adapt is essential to strengthening resilience, to crafting a satisfying holiday season however we can. After mourning the reality that everything is different, trying to reconfigure events safely is crucial to avoiding depression. If we can reframe our celebrations from a perspective of right versus wrong to one of both/and, we will no longer be forcing ourselves or those on our guest list to choose between being happy and unsafe or sad but careful.
And the knowledge to know that nothing is guaranteed. That's one thing that this pandemic has brought upon us. And with this Christmas holiday, we thought about and made a show of materialism. In that show, which you can pull up at speakers.com, you would hear that we was pushing for people to get off the materialistic things that shows the power of a person or the success of a person or anything of that nature. We are trying to downsize that, regardless if you do have it or not. If we advocate this year for the change that should be in front of us is to give.
Right. And Maulana Karenga, professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University in Long Beach, created Kwanzaa in 1966. He was also a Black nationalist, created Kwanzaa as a way of uniting and empowering the African American community in the aftermath of the deadly Watts riots. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa is unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Apply universally. What matters isn't the origin of the holiday, but the meaning we give to it. So I inspire and offer all of our listeners everywhere, if you hear the sound of my voice tonight, look up Kwanzaa, because a lot of the gift giving of Kwanzaa is through homemade gifts that you can make from your heart.
And yes, that was one of the main things that Jesus done while he walked the earth. He gave all the time. He gave life. He gave sight to the blind. He gave food. And ultimately, he gave his life. Because he can motivate people to do the same. Now, with this year, a lot of things that have happened in a lot of communities that has spread it that was a problem already in the city, and that is family homelessness or homelessness. And back in 2016, that's when Transition to Change's mission before the plague came up with idea to establish this nonprofit organization to spread the word and try to motivate more community spread of helping the next person get shelter. We have grown from 2016 to add up to what we are doing now, the podcast, Our Voice to the World, and in the nation to start a movement to help each other. And with these times right now in this Christmas movement, that is a one beautiful change that has came upon the world. And we can grasp that, keep it moving forward, out with the old and in with the new.
That's right. The holidays will be both different and potentially joyful. There will be less, but it can be enough. We can both be sad and hold out hope for things to improve. By drawing close and listening fully to one another, we deepen our connections, which will hopefully last long after the holiday season is over and stand us in good stead after the pandemic is finally over too.
And yes, we said it when the pandemic is over, because we believe our energy will change the atmosphere across the globe, and we will, as a human species, come out of this.
That's right. And special thanks to our top listeners in Chicago, Illinois, Houston, Texas, New York, and Scottsdale, Arizona. Much love to you all. We thank you for your support. And we thank you also to all of our listeners, sponsors, and supporters in other places in the world. We also appreciate your time.
Yes, my people, and we love all the response and the sharing of Transition to Change's mission. Our missions will continue to grow in the year of 2021. But yes, this is the last month of the year, my people. With 9 days before Christmas, you still have time to spread the love of giving to the next person or even within your family. Regardless if it is thinking of a materialistic thing that you can give your child or to another person, change it to from maybe a plate of food or $1 or two to a person that's standing on the corner. Maybe giving a family a heater to stay warm while they listen to Christmas carols.
Right. So are we ready for some Christmas quiz questions, King?
Yes, my love.
All right. Got the first one. How much did the first Christmas card cost?
5 cents. Because you got to think of the time and days. I know like a soda was 5 cents or 10 cents back in the 1920s. Or a question to be known, when was Christmas celebrated in the United States? When did it start?
Well, the answer to that was 1 shilling. The value of 1 shilling was a coin worth 1/20th of a pound sterling, or 12 pence. In US dollars, that's like 0.0090.
Wow.
And next one up. Which network first aired the classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1964? Now, before you answer, King, remember all the networks. We got Fox, ABC,
CBS.
CBS? Okay. I'm going to say, I'll say ABC. Do you know the answer, listeners? Write to us at www.transitionalchangesmission.wordpress.com.
Yes, my people. And that's just the beginning of some more quizzes coming up as we get closer to this Christmas day. But one thing that I want to promote on this show here is safety. Make sure you buy the right type of toys for your toddlers and your kids. Be vigilant with them about how they play with it and be safe with them. Buy the helmets and knee pads. Maybe that's something that I had to get.
Especially if you're getting bikes.
Yes.
Any type of moving equipment.
And don't get frustrated if a toy don't come together like you read the directions to put it together.
Right. And make sure you get plenty of batteries. You don't want to take all that wrapping paper off and forget the batteries.
Yes. And also, with all the new ways of purchasing items, it is now becoming to be Grinch at your porch. I have seen on the news of Grinch coming up to porches and stealing patches off the porch. Right. With the Ring camera and all kind of tools that you can get. Be safe with the items that you are purchasing and make sure they are delivered at safe places. Therefore, you won't have to worry about nobody taking your presents.
That's right. I also read a story recently. I think it was an Amazon driver. He was robbed at gunpoint. They took the whole van.
Wow. And, well, that goes for the safety of the drivers that's been out here. And and I say to the neighbors, be courtesy to the delivery drivers. They are doing an essential job to make us happy with the gifts that they are delivering.
Right.
Do some research, and I think they got Safe Box now that you can purchase and put on your porches. Have locks to them or fingerprint to open those boxes. That's just some of the items that you can maybe do research to make it safe for the driver and yourself.
And also for arts and craftsmen and women out there, a great thing to do with your family or yourself, decorate an ugly sweater, because we're having an ugly sweater contest, and it will be brought to you by Transitional Changes Mission podcast show. So go ahead, get your supplies, and start decorating those sweaters.
We are making a movement here to do more things in 2021 to make next Christmas be more of a giving sponsorship